our leadership and our mentality is we believe that your environment matters.
Yes.
Right? That's it. We believe that if you're sitting next to a top producing agent and you can listen to their conversation, and there is plenty of studies that show that you will be more productive if you are in the same room and you can listen and you can hear and you can learn and you can ask questions to people that are further up, in the chapter of their book, right? Yeah, that power in proximity. And we believe in that physical office space. Aside from having an actual branded physical office for consumers to be like, oh yeah, you're on Springfield Ave. Oh yeah, you're on North Ave. Oh yeah, you're over there. Like, I've seen your office, because that matters, right? That's branding. That's frequency. I see it. Yeah. Right? And I think that's a matter aside from that. So what do you guys think in regards to that move? It's a very expensive move. It's a big investment, but what do you guys believe? What do you want to say to people out there on why we have offices and why it's important?
So I can speak from my experience as an agent, and then I can speak from my experience as a leader sitting back and observing. People want a home away from home. Like, it's very difficult for you to work from your house, especially if you have kids. There's too many distractions. And guess what? When you're home, you can't feed off energy. There isn't any energy. You're there by yourself. When you are at the office next to like the Michelle Piases, next to like top producing agents like Liani, Melissa Gonzalez, et cetera, you're going to feed off that energy. There's an aura about those people that change you. And I'll give you my story. I wholeheartedly believe to the day I die that the only reason I became a top producing agent at Signature Realty, and it was the only company where I actually produced, because before that I was doing 10, 12, 13 transactions, great, whatever. And my first year with Signature, I ended up doing 29, and then from 29 went to like 40 something transactions, right, throughout the years. And I wasn't there long enough as an agent. I was only there in 2018, and then I transitioned to leadership 2020.
Right.
If it wasn't for Michelle, and if it wasn't for the team, if it wasn't for Chad Curry, right, who was a lot more in the office then than he is obviously today, and if it wasn't for that healthy competition,
right,
me feeding off his energy and vice versa,
right,
I would have never gotten there.
You guys were always like battling for first position.
Yeah, it was healthy.
In a very healthy manner.
Very healthy, yeah.
And I needed that.
Right.
And I know for a fact that, let's say COVID happened in 2018 and I was working from home, I wouldn't have never gotten there. Yeah. I need to feed off that synergy.
And a lot of agents are social, right? Like, that's part of the job. It's to talk, it's to network, and we saw it at Triple Play. There were so many agents that were Signature Realty agents. We all wore our gear, our signature gear. We're all hanging out together. And then you have bigger names than us, but they're national, right? Where they're just like a couple little...
Two there, three there.
No
camaraderie.
Yeah, the culture is not there.
Yeah.
The numbers don't look... If you were to ask people at Triple Play, who's a bigger brokerage, this brokerage or that brokerage, they would name us. Because everybody was like, oh my God, your booth was so busy. The whole time we were one of the busiest booths there. And that has a lot to do with us being here and present and being New Jersey based, right? So talk about that. Like, why do we want New Jersey? What's our objective with our physical footprint? And like, why does that differentiate us from the competition that's just nationwide or international?
Well, we're local, and real estate is local. And I feel like, local is better. I can tell you, as a producing agent, independent agencies in certain areas dominate.
Right.
Why?
The majority of them dominate.
They're local, right? And I feel like from a consumer standpoint, there are a lot of sellers that want to know that you have a brick and mortar location. And I've always been a fan of brick and mortar. I mean, this goes back 5-10 years ago, and I remember
you convinced me that that is the case.
Yeah, because you try to convince me against it. You're like, no, instead of opening up an office, let's just spend that money
on marketing to get market share before we open.
That's where Abate gets it from.
Yeah, and Abate fought me on that too. And I said, no, guys, you don't understand. Like, we need to have a location because people see it, they feel it. Okay, you're local. And, from the consumers, I can tell you that it's very important, the whole virtual world. People want to feel like, even if they never walk into that office ever, they want to know that it's there. It's a sense of comfort.
Yeah, and credibility.
And credibility.
And to your part, you can't, if you're virtual, you can't be part of a community.
No.
You cannot. Like, so we're doing the Elf on a Shelf thing in Summit right now.
Right.
People, residents from the neighborhood bring their kids and they walk into our office like it's like their own home.
Right.
And I'm like, hello. And they're walking in. We're just looking for the Elf on the Shelf. And they're looking for it and they're taking pictures.
That.
You can't do that with a virtual office. Obviously, there's no location to go to, right? It's tough for you to do events, charity events, be part of the community, right? And to really get ingrained. Right. And that's the whole thing. Like with the offices, you can get ingrained with your community. You can do toy drives. You can do, all types of charity events.
And events at
drives.
the office. And I think those, and that's the aha moment, because I listen to some of our competitors, the public companies, their earnings calls, right? And I hear what they say to the agents, right? Because I can, I experience that, I see that. And then I also see what they tell their investors. And a lot of times it's not exactly the same thing. And what's interesting is the reason I bring that up is because I think it's important for us, and a huge differentiating factor, unique selling proposition is, taking advantage of that office space. I feel like so many brokers have an office space, but they have it just to have it.
Correct.
Or they've had it because they've had it. And now nobody's using it because they're not doing anything to make the culture in the office lively, to have music, to have meetings, to have prospecting nights, and to do things that are going to incentivize agent engagement in a live format, because it's expensive and all these things and it takes a lot of work. But I believe that that's the best of all worlds, right? If you're going to have an office, it's dumb to have an office if you're not going to use it.
Right, have an experience.
Don't treat it just like a billboard.
No.
Right, and then also do, live events for consumers at your office. So set your office up in a way where you're not just looking at it like, oh yeah, here's some desks for people to do work in. It has to be more than that. And that's one of our big goals for 2024. Every office, because we're opening up 3 new offices, is have somebody that's in charge of creating all those office experiences, both for the consumer and to make it better for the agent.
Yes, and speaking of which, so we're in the process of opening up 3 offices very soon. We have Short Hills, which is probably going to be our headquarters office.
Right.
Very important to know that we like to own our real estate, right? So that's another reason we don't like to be tenants. We like to own our real estate, and Signature Realty has no debt.
Well, we're in real estate.
Yeah.
Right? But we have no debt, and that's important because I want people to realize that we're not, some of these companies, they're bigger companies, but they're, they have a lot of debt. We have
and
no
they're
debt.
negative. They're not profitable. They're hoping to be profitable at some time in the future, and that's nor here nor there. The point is that, like, these physical offices are important to us. If you're listening to this, you're an agent, you're like, okay, that resonates with me, right? I understand where that's going, and that's what I want to be part of. Great. If we're not in your area yet, we will be soon. I promise you. Right now,
our goal is to open up 1 office in every county.
Every county. We believe that that's a better footprint, and it's going to be contiguous. What does that mean? That we're in Union County, we're opening up in Essex County, we're opening up Ridgewood in Bergen County, we have an office in Hudson County in Jersey City, and it's contiguous. It's
Red
the only
Bank,
one that we hopped over was Middlesex County. And if you look at a map of New Jersey, if you jump over Middlesex County, we jump right to Monmouth County, just because we got a really good opportunity to purchase a property with parking, which Red Bank's tough. So, we're going to be in Middlesex, we're going to be in Morris, we're going to be in, in all these counties, and we're going to go contiguously, meaning I'm not going to buy something in Atlantic County tomorrow, right? Yeah. We want to, just keep going, growing our brokerage, growing our agent base.
Expanding the market areas, right?
Exactly. And eventually being in every county. So we believe in that, and I think it's great.
Yeah, and it's important for the agents as well, right?